What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is week 14 of the Premier League predictions. And a massive shout out to all of you because we reached over 100 paid members on Patreon. And I said when we get there, I'll be doing a stake builder challenge along with all the other accumulators that we do. So that will kick off this weekend. Flash up on screen, here are the people that are supporting the Patreon currently. We've got nearly 2 full screens of members, so thank you so much for all the support on the Patreon and the channel. You can get direct messaging access to me and community access down using the link in the description. So go and check that out. Here are all the winning accumulators since the last Premier League video, and I'm giving you all a little free insight as to one of the members only accumulators that we've got going so far, because someone DM'd me on Patreon. They said, can you make an 8-fold accumulator using 2 of the Tuesday UCL games, 2 of the Wednesday UCL games, and then 2 of the Europa League and 2 of the Conference League games? And I made this 8-fold here. So we're done with the Champions League. We had Lazio, Man City, Real Madrid to win and Man United not to lose. They tried their best though, didn't they? And then these are the 4 remaining choices if you want to make a little 4-fold using the members picks. We've got over 2.5 goals in the Marseille Ajax game today. Bayer Leverkusen over 1.5 goals. AZ Alkmaar and Zrinjski Mostar to have over 2.5 goals, and both teams to score in Fiorentina and Genk. So if you want to do that, feel free to join in. But we had the early kickoff, both teams scored double, the home comforts winners double, then the goals treble from last weekend, the Monday night both teams to score double. In fact, that was the Champions League as well. The high odds 4-fold, one of my favorites that I've done recently. The Real winners treble, the Serie A double, the Belgian treble, the Premier League both teams to score treble, the Serie B treble, the Portugal Cup double, the Dutch treble. It's all kicking off on the Patreon, so go and check it out using the link in the description. Kicking it off, we do have Arsenal up against Wolves. I'm actually wearing Arsenal's new merch drop. This hoodie right here looks so good. The back looks unreal. I think Arsenal are going to win this one. I actually predicted Arsenal would beat Lens 3-0 in the Champions League, and my tip was Arsenal -1 at 2.1 at the time I posted it for members, and they ended up winning 6-0. It was a brilliant performance. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to the Gunners. The only thing that worried me about that game really was that the bench was looking a little bit thin because Arsenal were pretty much at full strength minus a couple of people. So it just worries me with the longevity of these players. Luckily, they don't need to worry about the 6th Champions League fixture. They can play the D team if they want. Like, they are qualified top of the group, so they don't need to worry about that. And if I was Arsenal, I wouldn't be too precious in trying to get another win. It's not like they're going for an unbeaten Champions League season because they lost to Lens already. So I would play a weak team there, focus on the league. They're top of the league. I think they're going to beat Wolves. I'm going to go for 2-0. And my tip is Arsenal to win 2-0. Not 2-0, 2-0 at evens. Wolves could score, but I think Arsenal at home, their defense is just looking really good, so I think they're going to get the win there. After this, it's Brentford up against Luton. I'm going for Brentford to bounce back and get a win against Luton. Luton getting a brilliant win against Crystal Palace. My tip is actually going to be Brentford to win and over 1.5 goals at 1.72. I think this is the perfect game for Brentford to win, and you can see you'll rarely get Brentford at odds like this, and that is because it's at home. It's where they like playing. And look at these games they've won before. They beat West Ham 3-2, they beat Chelsea 2-0, they beat Burnley 3-0. These are all pretty convincing victories. Here, losing to Liverpool, it is what it is. They had, I think, a higher XG than Liverpool in that game. They're a bit unlucky, and Arsenal, losing to Arsenal is not bad. Like, you see 2 L's here, but it's 1st and 3rd in the league, so I wouldn't read too much into that. I think they're going to be able to beat Luton here. After this, it is Burnley up against Sheffield United. This one, again, a lot of times when I do these predictions, some of them you've got to go with a gut feeling because it's pretty impossible to predict all 10 results. So if you feel one that might be a little bit out there, you've got to go for it. And for me, it's the team that have only won once this season to get another win. Burnley to win at 1.85. They have had a bit of a rough run of fixtures, and Sheffield United at home for any team is a team you would be looking to beat. So I'm going to go for Burnley to get this win 2-1. We correctly predicted Burnley would lose 2-1 to West Ham in the last game week. So hopefully, how do we do for the Sheffield United? Yeah, we predicted both teams to score for the Sheffield United Bournemouth game. So we got a pretty good run. 2 perfect tips for these 2 teams last week. I'm going to go for Burnley to win at 1.81 here. I think they are going to get the job done. After this, Nottingham Forest up against Everton. Everton, they were absolutely smashed by Man United. Alejandro Garnacho with a Puskás award-winning goal, I reckon, to basically kind of calm all the nerves and settle everyone down. What a brilliant goal that was to start the game off with, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. Not how Everton would have liked for it to go. Forest Everton, Forest at home, Forest throwing a lead against Brighton. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, but my tip is both teams to score at 1.8. I think both teams will score. Everton better get on the score sheet, man, because they don't want to have this 10 points deduction and then not be able to claw their way back out. because if you look right now, they're 5 points from safety now, when if they got a result against Man United and Luton, who were the favourites to lose against Palace, they'd be out of the relegation zone already. Unfortunately, they are very much in it now. So I think they need to score, and I think they will, so I'm going to go 2-2. After this, Newcastle up against Manchester United. Now, I predicted United would beat Galatasaray in the Champions League, and I really thought I was on for a winner there. They were 3-1 up. They were looking good, and then just the keeping errors, the mistakes, it was just mental. I don't know how the goals went in, but I thought the third goal was a good finish. I think it was harsh of people saying that the keeper was entirely at fault there. I think that was just a good finish. But, I mean, the free kick, what are we doing here? I think Newcastle are going to win. They got assaulted by PSG, honestly. I think lie of the law, I guess it should be a handball. It's easy to then give handballs, right? If you give a handball, no matter what happens, as long as it hits your arm, on the basis that your arm can't be used to hit the ball, then it makes sense. So I just think that should be adopted around the country, because then there's no did it hit his hand? Did it not? Did it? It is a handball if it hits your arm, because you can't use your arm to hit the ball. It doesn't matter if it's come off your knee first or your chest first. Yes, they can't get their arm out of the way, but intent doesn't matter. If someone makes an honest slide tackle but breaks someone's leg and it's late or whatever, they haven't tried to break their leg, but it's a red card. I really hate it when people look at a red card challenge, for example, and they say, oh yeah, but there's no intent there. There rarely is intent. Rarely. When there's so many more red cards than there are intentional bad fouls that warrant a red card. It doesn't matter the intent. You've still made a foul. So either way, that's that. I think Newcastle at St. James's Park are such a beast, and I'm actually going to predict them to beat Manchester United here. My tip is both teams to score at 1.66. Again, my tip was both teams to score. For Galatasaray Man United, I said they'd both score, and for Newcastle PSG, I said they'd both score. Both happened. I think both teams will score here. I'm more confident on both teams to score than I am for the result. I could see United pulling out their first draw of the season, but if Newcastle do win, they leapfrog Manchester United in the table. I do feel like this is a bit of a false position here. It's winning by 1-goal margins against not great teams with flashes of brilliance from individual players as opposed to really good team performances, if I'm honest. But I think Newcastle can get the win here. After this, it is the Vitality Stadium for Bournemouth up against Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa, we correctly predicted they would beat Tottenham 2-1. And as I already said about, let me just put that in there. As I already said about Bournemouth, we correctly predicted that they would score multiple goals against Sheffield United. So I think Bournemouth are going to score. Aston Villa score 2, win the game 2-1. My tip is Aston Villa to win it. Evens here. I really like this. I know they're away from home at a tough place to go in the Vitality Stadium. I know they have a European fixture beforehand, but they are so much better than Bournemouth that they should get this win. And I think, that would be great if they can be on 31 points, because you look at this, if they didn't lose to Nottingham Forest, I know it was away, I know Forest are good at home, but you'd expect them to beat Forest. If Villa beat Nottingham Forest a couple of weeks ago right here, which is feasible, right? They'd be outright top of the league, which is insane. They are so close. They're very much in it. Title race, I really don't think so. Generally speaking, the length of the season will shape the table more like it is now, with probably a bigger gap at the top here. But at the moment, they're there and thereabouts, and Bournemouth is a fixture you want. I'm going for Aston Villa to win. After this, it's Chelsea up against Brighton. Brighton coming back from behind to beat Nottingham Forest 3-2, and Chelsea right here, absolutely destroyed by Newcastle. I do think they're going to bounce back. Brighton, again, have a European fixture. Chelsea at home. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Chelsea. My tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals, which happens. Both teams have scored in every single Brighton game this season. And other than this stretch of 3 1-1 draws in a row, there were over 2.5 goals as well. If you look at these results here, Chelsea games have a lot of goals in them recently. We've got 5 goals there, 8 goals there, and 5 goals there. 2-1 to Chelsea, bouncing back, both teams to score, and over 2.5 goals at 1.83. After this, Liverpool up against Fulham. Fulham, 3 goals against Wolves. Willian, one of the few 100% record players in the Premier League with penalty kicks, scoring 2 in that game. Liverpool, they drew here, as you can see, with Manchester City, thanks to a late-ish goal from Trent Alexander-Arnold. He took it well. I think Man City were the better team, but a brilliant result for the league, a brilliant result for the Gunners. I think Fulham can score here, but I'm going to go 3-1. I originally put 4-1 Liverpool, but Liverpool do have Europa League to contend with, so we'll go with 3-1. But my tip is Liverpool to win and both teams to score at 2.5. It literally doubles the odds here, and there's no value in a Liverpool win. I think Fulham can get a goal. I said the same tip for Liverpool-Brentford, and it was 3-0 to Liverpool, but Brentford should have scored, and I think Liverpool and both teams to score is a good shout here. After this, it is West Ham up against Crystal Palace. I correctly predicted West Ham would win 2-1 last week. I did not predict that Crystal Palace would lose to Luton 2-1. I'm going for a repeat scoreline for both of the teams. A 2-1 win to West Ham, a 2-1 loss to Crystal Palace. My tip is both teams to score at 1.8, and that is that. West Ham will then be pushing their way up the table. Palace just kind of consolidating in that mid-table. Not worried about relegation, but not much more than that. And the final, is this the game of the week? It definitely is. Well, you could say Newcastle Man United is looking like a good game, but Man City up against Tottenham. It's not at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, so there isn't that voodoo, but Tottenham have held 3 L's in a row, soon to be 4, when Manchester United beat them. I'm actually going to go for a 2-0 win here. I think it's going to be fairly straightforward, get the job done. I mean, as you can see, Man City, they drew with Chelsea, they drew with Liverpool. They've got another hard game in Tottenham. I think they are going to get the win. Man City 2-0. My tip is actually Man City -1 handicap at 1.72. I could see them winning this 3-1, but I think with the team they've got, even though they had Champions League football against RB Leipzig and it was a good game, they'll have had time to recover. It's Tuesday to Sunday. That's not bad at all. Like, that basically is like a Premier League length of time between the two games. I think they'll be fine. They're better than Tottenham. Tottenham are in a bad way. They've got loads of injuries. I think Manchester City are going to win. So that is going to do it for the Premier League predictions for this week. So drop a like, subscribe down below. We're getting very close to 26,000 subscribers, which is insane. And it's just going to be go, go, go with the fixture list over the festive period. So you don't want to miss it. And like I said, if you want to get involved with the Patreon, get direct access to me, community chats, and with the upcoming Stake Builder 100 members challenge, click the first link in the description and get involved yourself. But that is going to do it from me. And I'll see you in the next video very soon.